What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in, and today I'm going to be talking about Quentin Grimes, and I feel like he's not being appreciated enough. Maybe there are some people on Twitter or just overall on social media that do appreciate Quentin Grimes, but a lot of people are just going to take a look at Quentin Grimes' stats and be like, he's not an important player for this team. He averages 10 points. He doesn't even average like 3 assists. They're saying he's a good passer. He averages a decent amount of rebounds. They say he's a great shooter, but he's only shooting 36% from 3. But his impact on the game is far upon the numbers when you watch Quentin Grimes out there on the basketball floor. He just makes those momentum-changing plays if it's on defense, if it's a three-point shot, and even more. Like, for example, the Cleveland Cavaliers game last night, a game that went down to the wire. You know, he didn't hit one of those big-time pivotal shots when it was like would say like a minute left in the fourth quarter. But when the New York Knicks, like, remember when we had that 13-point lead early on in that basketball game, Cleveland Cavaliers like go on a run. I believe they were up like 8 points when it came to that third quarter, like 2 minutes into that third quarter. But then the New York Knicks were starting to get clicking again, you know, when Brunson started to cook, when he got to the free throw line, when he knocked down that three-pointer to tie the game. And then you had Quentin Grimes that was able to knock down a big-time three to give us the lead back, because when the Cleveland Cavaliers got that lead, when they're going on a run, that was their first lead since it was like 9-8 in the game. And it's so important to have a player of Quentin Grimes that can hit those timely buckets for you guys. Don't get me wrong, there's been times that he hasn't hit timely buckets, but he has shown that he can hit timely buckets for the New York Knicks, which we need. And I feel like he's one of the top players on this team that he actually knows his role. Like, he knows his limitations, he knows what he's good at, he knows what he's not good at out there on the basketball floor. And you could say he doesn't try to do too much. Maybe you could say sometimes he takes contested jumpers. But when you look at Quentin Grimes, since he's been inserted into the starting lineup, the New York Knicks have improved drastically defensively. Yes, there's some things with the defensive scheme that we can't really do much about. You know, Tom Thibodeau is going to stick with his defensive scheme, because when you watch so far throughout this season, you know, we're almost at All-Star break. The three-point defense has improved, but you still see that we're late on closeouts, and I'm like, me thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, no way, it's just the players. Like, after like it's almost All-Star break, these players eventually realize that they have to collapse us out on the perimeter, and I really think it is the defensive scheme. Sometimes when we're playing like drop coverage, it's like we have to react and we have to recover as fast as possible. So I do think it has to do with the defensive scheme, but maybe you could say the players need to collapse us out on the perimeter more. But anyway, Quentin Grimes has definitely been one of the main reasons this defense has been better. You take a look at the passing. Yes, he may be only averaging like 2 assists per game. He doesn't have some crazy numbers. But Quentin Grimes isn't someone that constantly has the basketball in his hands. He's not one of the top options like a Jalen Brunson, like a Julius Randle, like an RJ Barrett when he has the ball in his hands out there on the basketball floor. He is someone when he does get the ball, he's in the corner or he's on the wing. But when he does have the opportunity to pass the basketball, he makes brilliant reads out there on the floor. He's a very underrated passer of the basketball. When he does get the basketball, this is one of the most underrated things about him. Everyone's going to think the shooting, the defense, all that, like the effort on defense, the communicating. But he has a lethal first step when he does get an opportunity with the basketball. And he could trick the defense in a bunch of different ways. Because he's a good three-point shooter, the defense is going to collapse outside on the perimeter. So he has that threat. But then he has that ability, because they're closing out so hard, he could blow by the guys. And he's a pretty quick first step. He's an underrated athlete as well. He could throw it down. But maybe if someone is recovering at the basket, a very good shot blocker, he'll dump it inside to a Mitchell Robinson. Like, he just has that signature, you know, he catches the ball outside on the perimeter, you know, he might throw a pump fake where he just catches the ball and just like quick hesitation, or just goes really quick, works down the lane, gets in the teeth of the defense while he's in there, and the air dumps it off to a Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, whoever's cutting to the basket, or whoever is in the interior, the dunker spot in that situation. And it's not just the assist. This is one of the main reasons he doesn't have a crazy amount of assists. Like I said, he doesn't constantly have the ball in the offense, and not like he's some crazy handle or anything like that, but I do think he has a solid one. He has decent hesitation when given an opportunity out there on the floor, but the pass to assist are just as important, because he brings that contagious ball movement to the basketball club, that he'll have the ball, maybe he doesn't like the shot, he makes a pass, and then maybe they don't like the shot and they make the extra pass outside on the perimeter and they knock it down. Is the ball movement consistent? No, but the ball movement definitely has been better with Quentin Grimes compared to an Evan Fournier, that Evan Fournier wouldn't make that extra pass. He would get the ball selfishly, drive to the basket, put up a random push shot floater, or sometimes he would take a a step back deep two that makes no sense, a really contested three. Don't get me wrong, sometimes Quentin Grimes does take some contested threes out there on the floor, but he definitely does have a pretty release that you think every shot is going in. But his passing, making the extra passes, is really contagious out there on the floor. But overall, as a club, we definitely need to improve when it comes to ball movement for 4 quarters. Like, we'll see it work for 1 quarter of basketball, and then it just, like, goes away, which is extremely disappointing and really frustrating. But he's contagious when it comes to ball movement, making the extra pass, just constantly just rotating the ball around outside on the perimeter, or even finding the mismatch inside the interior if it's a post-up situation. But Quentin Grimes has shown that he's more than just a three-point shooter. When he gets the basketball, he does have the capability of driving. He has a soft touch around the basket, and we need to give him more touches within the offense because he's a solid shooter, so he's able to knock it down from the free throw line. I know he's probably shooting like 78, 79%, but that's not on a lot of attempts. But it does come down to the consistency with the shot. Like, I do believe he is a good shooter. Like, he has shown for stretches he's a good shooter, or he's at least going to knock down a 3 a game. But there's times that he does miss wide open shots, or sometimes his feet aren't really set, and there's times I'm like, you literally could add another second to shoot the basketball. Like, you shot that like way too fast. Like, your feet weren't even set. Your feet were too close together. So sometimes he does rush his shot, which I do think he needs to work on. We've seen him like have that step back at times as well. He has the ball quick, like stutter, like step back. He gets into it. He's able to get it off. He has shown that he can make it, but then there's times that it doesn't fall as well. But I do love that he's willing to make the extra pass, and it's just awesome to finally have a glue guy in the offense. He may not be a future star or anything like that. I'm not saying he's impacting the team like a superstar, but it's awesome to have someone that it looks like they know what their role is. There's not many... It's awesome to have a player looks like they know what their role is. I believe there's like a few players on this roster that it's just like what's really their role, but I think that comes down to the coach as well, that we have this read and react offense, give it to this one guy, go to work. It's extremely frustrating. But Quentin Grimes, one of the most important things and one of the most brilliant things about him is he's a second-year player, and he just always knows where to be out there on the basketball floor, as he's not just standing around at the three-point line. Like, he knows certain players' tendencies. He does a brilliant job relocating. He knows players' tendencies of where they like to give him the basketball. So he may be in the paint, but then he may be moving around, and then he spots outside of the perimeter to that corner three-point shot, or on the right wing as well. He just knows how to move without the basketball, which we really do appreciate, that he's not the standstill three-point shooter. But again, he has shown that he could be on fire from beyond the arc. And then some games, it's just like, come on, man. Like, we know your capability of shooting the basketball. Like, set your feet. Don't rush your shot. So I don't think there's a confidence thing with him. I do think he's a mentally tough player, but sometimes I feel like he rushes his shots, or his footwork isn't always consistent outside on the perimeter. So he does have the capability of relocating, getting to his spot, moving without the basketball, and being unpredictable on the offense side of the basketball. And something we need to utilize more, in my opinion, not just giving Quentin Grimes like touches, go to work, and that type of thing. He is brilliant when it comes to cutting back door, which provides us easier buckets. That's not something Evan Fournier brought to the table, or guys in the past when it came to that position next to RJ Barrett, when they would get an opportunity, if it was due to injuries or whatever. Like, if Randall has the basketball, like, obviously Obi's one of the best cutters on the team, but Grimes as well is a really good cutter, cutting back door, just like any type of situation. You can see the crease in the defense or catch someone falling asleep, because that's one of the things we love about Quentin Grimes, that he plays with a high motor no matter what. He plays with a high motor no matter what. Maybe you'd like to see him add a mid-range shot next, but I don't think he's really in that position that he gets screens a lot or creates. Like, he can create a shot a lot to get to that mid-range, and I just don't think that's a part of his game yet. We have seen him take them, but it's not on a consistent basis. But I do like the capability of that, like him being able to cut back door, relocating. He has a quick first step, so he does show that he can finish hard around the basket. He's not crazy tall. He's 6'4", 6'5". There's some mixed results when it comes to websites. But obviously, one of the most impressive things is his defense. He doesn't have some crazy physical profile, not like some crazy long wingspan, like a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan, or anything like that. Frank Ntilikina, for those other Knicks fans out there, calling him Gary Payton 2.0. I was one of them. No, I wasn't. But, Quentin Grimes is a competitor. No matter what the assignment is, he's going to fight hard and play hard defense. For example, up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, like, defending Donovan Mitchell. He, like, even Emmanuel Quickley as well. Like, we would be playing really good defense on Donovan Mitchell, and he would hit some very difficult shots, but then he would also miss some shots. Some shots would fall short because Quentin Grimes, one thing he definitely needs to work on defensively, or a couple things. Sometimes he can fall for that initial hesitation or up fake, and then the player's able to get a cleaner shot off. But I love his recovery, how he's still able to recover no matter what, because he's always in great defensive positioning. His hips are very fluid. He just does a good job really fighting no matter what. He reads the passing lanes very well. His ability to see things before they happen, but he contests every shot, gets up in your jersey, knows when to be aggressive. He loves being aggressive, I should say, because this is one of the negatives with Quentin Grimes. He needs to get better, not fouling as much, or you could say even when he's staying out of foul trouble, he commits a stupid foul. I want to say he at least has 5 fouls this year that he's fouling someone at the three-point line. He definitely needs to look out for his feet more, and I understand it's like more soft, or not soft. Those are just the rules nowadays. Like, they're trying to protect the shooters, but he sometimes doesn't go up vertical when contesting the shot and like jumps into the shooter when contesting. So I do think he needs to do a better job having better awareness when it comes to defending the three-point line, or sometimes just not being as just not hacking as much on defense. But he really plays hard. He plays good help defense as well to bottle guys up, and he's a pretty strong dude. He's able to shut off guys with his frame, and I'm not just talking about his wingspan. I'm talking about his height, but also combined with his strength, which really does benefit him out there on the floor. So again, Quentin Grimes isn't putting up these crazy statistics or anything like that, but we've seen him hit timely shots, make the extra pass, him getting into the teeth of the defense, dumping it off. But he definitely needs to improve when it comes to knocking down those open threes at times, which I do think, we have to keep in mind, it's the second year in the NBA. With repetition, and he has a great work ethic, he's going to continue to get better, in my opinion. But the fouls, he definitely needs to clean up. Maybe you want to see him get a tighter handle to get more opportunities in the offense, or maybe you could say we can kind of blame the offense for not really getting a lot of opportunities. But when Randall needs the ball in his hands, when Brunson needs the ball in his hands, and RJ needs the ball in his hands, it's going to be very difficult to give Grimes really valuable options, or give him valuable opportunities like almost every trip down, or even consistently throughout the game. But the role he is playing, it's been brilliant on defense. On offense, there's times maybe when it comes to really long wingspans, guys that are extremely taller than him, when it comes to athleticism, maybe he will get beat. But he has very quick feet, he has good footwork, and I love the way Quentin Grimes has been playing for the New York Knicks. I hope he continues to keep it up. Maybe just be a little more consistent with the defense, and just being smarter on the defense side of the basketball. But I do believe it was the work ethic to continue to get better in his role. Let me know down below your thoughts on Quentin Grimes. Peace out, y'all.